Here's why I refuse to give up when it comes to Bittensor and its native token called Tau. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything here. However, personally for me, when I take a look at Tau as of right now, it's back at pretty much 2023 levels. Why? It's because it's now officially below $200 yet again. Now, it may not seem like a good thing, but I'm looking to dollar cost average. So if I'm able to dollar cost average, personally for me, I'm not telling anyone again to do anything, at 2023 levels in 2026, am I going to complain? I don't think I would. Because I still like Bittensor fundamentally. Sure, it's around 15 times lower than $3,000 as of right now. But if I'm looking to dollar cost average and it's at a lower point, I don't know if I'd complain about that. The thing is, Bittensor personally for me still fits two narratives that I'm still a fan of, and two narratives that, historically speaking, have showed moments of brilliance. Like for instance, Bittensor is heavily focused on AI and as well as machine learning. And does anyone really think that the AI narrative has disappeared? I highly doubt that, right? When it comes to machine learning, does anyone think that, the narrative disappeared? I highly doubt that to a large extent. Like, I'm sure some people maybe don't think it could become a narrative moving forward, but I just haven't given up on that. And Bittensor, simply put, right, it is heavily focused on AI and as well as machine learning. If I take a look at Tau, its native token, people like to tell me, well, it's just not doing the best. But again, if I'm looking to dollar cost average, isn't that kind of the point for me? Like, why would I only believe in things when they're up here, but then ignore it when they're down here? I just wouldn't do that, personally, if I'm a fan of the project. Now, if I'm not a fan of the project, then that's a completely different case. I'd probably ignore it, but I'm still a fan. The thing is this as well, though. At $3,000, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around 30 billion at that point. Which, in and of itself, may seem like such a massive figure, but when I take a look at, for instance, Dogecoin reaching over 80 billion, Shiba Inu reaching around 40 billion, and they did this back in 2021, by the way, so we're talking about years ago, and they did that in terms of market cap, is around 30 billion for arguably, in my opinion, one of the most famous and recognizable projects that is focused on AI and as well as machine learning. I don't know if that seems so ridiculous to me, because even back in 2021, like during the peak of that cycle, there was around 300 million owners, but right now there's over 600 million, pretty much double. Now people like to tell me, well, there's more competition right now. But personally for me, sure there is, but how many of Bittensor archetypes, right? How many versions of this can I really find in terms of the popularity, the presence, and the fundamentals? So yes, there's more projects, but I don't feel like there's too many of Bittensor's competitors that can really compete sort of toe-to-toe and stand with it, so to speak, fundamentally. I just don't feel like there's that many to me. So yes, there's pretty much double the amount of owners when it comes to before within this space, again, compared to back in the peak of the 2021 cycle. But in terms of Bittensor, I don't feel like too many of this sort of archetype kind of appeared. However, keep in mind, despite all this, Tau, it's currently ranked number 37 in the world in terms of market cap within this space. 37. It's not the 100th, which is also very impressive. It's not the 200th, which is also very impressive, actually. But this is currently ranked 37 in the world. So is this just going to be ignored randomly if there's an altcoin season? It wouldn't surprise me if it wasn't, because it's just one of the most popular projects out there within this space. And the thing is this as well. When it comes to Bittensor, interestingly enough, actually Tau, its native token, the maximum supply is 21 million, so it's exactly like Bitcoin. Now, is this as rare as Bitcoin? Well, in terms of purely maximum supply, I mean, it has the same maximum supply, but of course it's never going to become as popular as Bitcoin, so of course it's not more rare, but I just find it pretty cool that the maximum supply is 21 million. But besides all that, though, I just personally haven't given up when it comes to Bittensor. But this is just personally my mindset. I don't have to believe in this, by the way. I'm voluntarily doing so anyways, because I'm curious as to what could maybe happen. But I'm still waiting. I don't think I've seen an altcoin season. But I just personally dollar cost average once a month. I don't do any more than that. I don't do any less than that either. I just personally like to keep it just sort of consistent over trying to chase, certain moments or something like that. That's not personally for me. I'm never going to be able to quote unquote find the perfect moment. However, I can just only control myself. So I just like to, again, dollar cost average once a month, wait, and that's pretty much about it. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just personally what I'm doing. That way, I'll just still be able to continue my life, just do what I do basically, and just at the same time wait. Because had I been waiting for Bitcoin 10 years ago, or had I not, I would have still had to live my life anyways, right? That's the thing. But I wasn't holding 10 years ago, but I can't go back in time. But also, I think that moment showcased to me that when it comes to this space, it's going to do its thing with or without me. So either I go on the roller coaster or I don't. But the roller coaster is still going to happen with or without me. So this is why sometimes I like to stay patient. Not telling anyone to do anything again. This is just personally my mindset. But I still like Bittensor fundamentally. I still like its main focuses, which is AI and as well as machine learning. And also on top of that, I like the presence. I like how it's not necessarily a forgotten about project. Again, Tau is currently ranked number 37 in the world in terms of market cap within this space. I still like the amount of holders when it comes to Tau. And I just feel like Bittensor hasn't really been given up on in that sense. Sure, they don't update that much, but it's a more serious project anyways. They don't typically update that much regardless. So I'm just going to wait it out and I'll see what happens. Even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything, this is what I'm doing personally. And I just refuse to give up right now when it comes to Bittensor. However, I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very nice day. It's Mali the Captain, and I'll see y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.